Imagine an island where everything you know about nature is flipped upside down. Imagine a place where elephants are the size of ponies, where rats are as big as golden retrievers, and where humans are no taller than a 3-year-old child. But this isn't a fantasy novel. This isn't Middle-earth. This was real. 18,000 years ago, on a remote Indonesian island called Flores, a tiny species of human lived in the shadows of a nightmare. They were 3 feet tall, with oversized feet and tiny brains. They were the Homo floresiensis, better known to science as the Hobbits. But life for a Hobbit wasn't a fairy tale, because on the island of Flores, the humans weren't the hunters, they were the hunted. Towering over them was a monster that shouldn't exist, a 6-foot-tall carnivorous stork with a beak like a meat cleaver that looked at a human and saw a snack. Welcome to Primeval Life. Today, we are stepping on to the island of miniature monsters to witness the most terrifying, inverted world in human history. The discovery that shocked the world. In 2003, a team of archaeologists was digging in a massive limestone cave called Liang Bua. They were looking for evidence of modern humans migrating to Australia. Instead, they found something that broke the rules of biology. Deep in the sediment, they found a skeleton. It was female, fully grown, but only 3.5 feet tall. At first, they thought it was a child, but the teeth were worn down. The hip bones were adult. This was a miniature species of human that had lived alongside us for thousands of years. The media went wild. They called them hobbits. But for scientists, the mystery was how? How did a group of humans end up so small? The answer is a biological phenomenon called Island Dwarfism. The island of the inverted. When a species gets trapped on an island with limited food, big things tend to shrink to save energy. Flores was home to a species of primitive elephant called stegodon. Over thousands of years, these giants shrank until they were the size of a large dog. But here is the twist. While the giants shrank, the small things grew. In a world with no lions, no tigers, and no wolves, the roles of apex predator were up for grabs. On Flores, the gaps were filled by the most unlikely candidates. Rats evolved to become giants. Komodo dragons grew into massive venomous tanks. And then there was the bird. The real monster, Leptoptilus robustus. To you and me, a stork is a symbol of bringing babies, but on the island of Flores, this stork was a bringer of death. Standing nearly 6 feet tall and weighing over 35 pounds, this was a massive, flightless or nearly flightless predator. Unlike modern storks that eat fish, Robustus was a heavy-set carnivore. Imagine a bird taller than a modern man, with a bald, leathery head and a massive, spear-like beak. It didn't soar in the sky. It stalked through the high grass on thick, powerful legs. Now, look at it through the eyes of a hobbit. To a 3-foot-tall human, this bird was a giant. It was twice their height. A single strike from that beak could pierce a hobbit's skull like an eggshell. The uncanny hunt. Picture a group of hobbits foraging near the edge of the Liang Bua cave. They're smart. They use stone tools. They coordinate. They are currently stalking a baby stegodon, a miniature elephant. They think they're the predators, but in the tall grass behind them, a pair of cold reptilian eyes is watching. The giant stork doesn't make a sound. It moves with a terrifying, jerky precision. In this inverted world, the birds eat the humans. We have found the bones of these giant birds inside the same caves where the hobbits lived. It was a constant war for the same real estate. The hobbits had to hide in the deep recesses of the earth, not to stay warm, but to stay hidden from the monsters in the sky. The fate of the hobbits. For nearly 100,000 years, the hobbits survived. They outlasted many of their larger, superhuman cousins. But about 50,000 years ago, they vanished. What killed them? Was it a volcanic eruption? Did the giant storks finally win the war? Or was it the arrival of something even more dangerous? Around the same time the hobbits disappeared, a new species arrived on Flores, a species that was 5 to 6 feet tall, a species that used fire and advanced weapons. Us. When humans arrived, the inverted world of Flores was corrected. We hunted the giant birds to extinction. We hunted the miniature elephants. And the hobbits? They either faded away or they became the source of the local legends. Even today, the people of Flores tell stories of the Ebu Gogo, small, hairy cave dwellers who steal food and speak in murmurs. Is it just a legend, or is it a genetic memory of the time we shared the world with a different kind of human? If you think the giant stork was scary, you aren't ready for what happened when humans met the 20-foot venomous dragon of the outback. Which would you rather face, a 6-foot bird or a miniature elephant? Let me know in the comments. I'm reading every one of them. Hit subscribe to stay at the top of the food chain. This is Primeval Life, and the past